So what's happening with Mason Mount? This is his make or break season for Manchester United. So let me explain to you how the last few months have gone for Mount, how his off-season went, his pre-season performances, why Amorim loves him so much, as has every other manager he's played under, and exactly the situation right now. So when it comes to Mason Mount, no one's ever really questioned his talent, but United has been injured so damn much, you've hardly seen it in a United shirt. 2 years in, this is his third season, this really is his make or break season. And it has to be a make season for him. So what has he been doing to put himself in the best possible position? What I'm going to quickly do is run through what happened in the last season to begin this video.
It's been difficult, obviously, since I've been here, and I've had the injuries and the setbacks, but let's always stay positive, and I knew something good was going to come, and I carried on going, and obviously tonight it's paid off in the semi-final. So
now Mount was effectively just back from injury. He'd been laid off for a while, but he came back and he looked really strong.
You want to get back as quick as possible, but sometimes it's maybe just hold it a little bit, give it an extra week before you can fully push on.
He scored twice in the crucial second leg win that took United into the Europa League final after beating Bilbao at Old Trafford. He had shown flashes of the player we thought we were buying from Chelsea. He was picked to start the Europa League final, but the less we talk about that overall performance, the better. But Mount had a really good end to the season. It was another season where he sort of like disappeared into the shadows because of injuries, right? And he came back in and he looked class, especially that first goal he scored against, was it Bilbao? It was. That turn and finish. I was at Old Trafford that night. And then that one where he scored from the halfway line. Well, 40 yards. Both cracking goals. And it was a strong end to the season. So what can he do? Can he take that into the off-season? Now, Mount, just like every other United player, was provided with a training plan in the summer. And it seems to have paid off. This is what Mount said about it. He goes, I feel like I'm in really good shape, had a good off-season, rested. That was probably one of the most important things to, take that rest. I slowly built up some sessions in the off-season, and that was from the staff here. They gave us a schedule to work off. And Mount spoke about his confidence in his fitness and readiness to compete for that starting spot. It's competition. I'll always back myself, the new lads. They've been brilliant in training so far. But he backed himself. And Amorim praised Mount's consistency. He said, look, he does everything 100%, every training, every game. It's always the same player. So Mount put in the hard yards during the off-season, okay? Put himself in basically the best possible position that he could do, as did so many others. And that's one thing that we all noticed straight away in pre-season, how fit and sharp players looked compared to how they ended last season. Lenny Yoro, Kobbie Mainoo, Mason Mount, and others. But how did he get on in pre-season? Now, Mount has actually been injury-free now since the 14th of March. Now, touch wood, I'm not jinxing it. I'm just telling you some facts.
I need consistency. I'm the first one to say I need to be consistent, game time, managed from now to the end of the season. I want to be available for every single game.
He actually featured in all 5 of United's pre-season matches and scored versus Everton in the Premier League Summer Series in the USA. Throughout the pre-season, his positional versatility was evident. He played both as the left number 10 and as a centre forward. And Mount actually had a motivational Zoom chat with Thomas Tuchel, England boss, whose former coach, who encouraged him to push for a return to the national team ahead of the 2026 World Cup. And Tuchel was also in the crowd at Old Trafford for the Arsenal game. A game where Mount started as the left number 10. And I tell you what, Mount played pretty damn well. He connected play nicely in possession. Out of possession, he worked as hard as you always expect Mount to be. Now I'm going to pull out 2 examples from that game. This one here, a lovely ball in behind for Mbumo to run onto. The perfect ball, really. And this one here was him receiving the ball from Bayindir between the lines. And you could see from his average position that he often dropped deeper to help Bruno and Casemiro in midfield from that role. Linking up play in that number 10 role is exactly what you need to be. And I'll be honest, I actually think he gives Amorim a headache. I'm not sure whether I'd describe it as a headache. But I think United genuinely have some strength in depth in these 2 attacking mid positions. You've got Cunha and Mbumo pretty much going to be your starters in those positions. Then you've got Mount. You've got, I think, Bruno. You can put Ahmad there too. You can put Xerxes there when he's fit as well. Now, Mount played up front. I think in the pre-season game against Fiorentina, I'd rather not see him play there. I think if you're going to choose a position for Mount, it's going to be that left-sided number 10. And that versatility is something that Amorim has absolutely spoken about loving. He goes, it's unbelievable the way he works. He moves all the time from positions. He knows all the positions. It really is no coincidence that basically every manager that Mount has had has loved Mason Mount. I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised by Mount this season. I chose Patrick Dorgu as the player I was like kind of one to watch, or the surprise of the season in terms of where he is now and where I think he's going to be development-wise by the end of the season. I hope Mason Mount can put himself in contention there. I think if you look at his position in the squad, it's going to be Mount versus Cunha for that left-sided number 10 role. Certain games, maybe Cunha will play further up, but I think we saw against Arsenal, and I've seen all pre-season, and I know who Cunha is as a player, his best ability is bringing the ball from deep and carrying it through the line. So I actually don't want to see him play further up. So if anything, I'd rather see Mount play there as a bit of a false 9. But Mount's actually better as one of the number 10s as well. And I do like him. I wouldn't really say anything bad against him. I think he's just had a rough couple of years fitness-wise. But this has to be the season where Mount breaks through. I think if he had not had so many injury issues, I don't think he would have got this third season. I think the club would have already made their decision and moved him on. And they may have struggled to send him in the summer. But I think they've shown with Højlund, especially, sort of a degree of ruthlessness that I think is going to become new at Manchester United. Previously, we just hold on to players for as long as we possibly can in the hope that maybe sometime it might work down the line. Mount's got one more season. And in a squad which is heavily competitive in those two particular positions, you could say that Mount could play as one of the central midfielders. I disagree on that. I think Mount's one of the two number 10s, but, you know, I would actually rather Bruno Fernandes play further forward. So what do I know? Just let me know what you think in the comments below, right? How confident are you that Mount can have the season that I suppose the last couple of months have shown promise of, ending the season strong, a solid off-season, pretty damn good in the pre-season. In that first game against Arsenal, I really think he put a foot wrong. I think he did exactly what he needed to do as that link-up player in one of the inside forward roles. Now, you can let me know what you think, as I said in the comments. I'm backing Mount to have his best season in a United shirt, but truth be told, that's not particularly difficult. Not after the first 2 years getting ravaged by injuries. If injuries kick off again this season, then it's game over for Mount. I think he knows that. You can let me know what you think, as always, in the comments.